Hey, welcome everybody. I'm pretty excited today because we got a package from Ortho Arch. It's a orthodontic supply company. They sell all kinds of orthodontic instruments and supplies and pretty much everything that you need. The we They supply us with some of our student kits, and so I just wanted to kind of review what's in our student kit. They have some discounts for our students as well. So, of course, like I mentioned it in previous courses, you're welcome to buy orthodontic supplies from any company that you like. It's just that Ortho Arch was generous enough to send us the student kit, and they also generous enough to give our students a discount. And they have been an orthodontic supply business for years and years, and I think it's a good company that can help you get started with your orthodontic treatment of your patients. So I'm just going to go through what's in the student kit, one item at a time, just so that you can get familiar with, if you purchase our student kit from Ortho Arch, then you know what's in it, and you can of course customize it too. You can give them a call, and you can buy less or more, whatever you'd like. But our student kit includes pretty much everything that you need to get started with the seminar exercises, as well as to treat some of your first orthodontic patients. Now, we don't receive any royalties or any financial incentives from these companies that we mentioned in our seminars, but we do appreciate when companies send us these generous gifts to help our students. So we like to mention that as a side note. So again, this is from this company called Ortho Arch, and their order form is on our website. So I'm just going to go through step by step what's in this package. It's a box, okay? There are several different items in it, okay? So I'm going to pull out one thing at a time, and I won't spend a lot of time on reviewing the instruments, but I just want to tell you what's all in our student kit, okay? So you're going to get so there's a method plier. And of course, you should be familiar with these. You'll be using these method pliers quite a bit to place ligatures, elastic ligatures, as well as steel ligatures. There is also a ligature director. Then, you're also going to get a bird beak plier. So these pliers are really important because you use them so much, and like we mentioned it in our previous courses, it's very important that you follow the manufacturer recommendations on how to sterilize and autoclave these instruments, because otherwise they are going to rust very quickly. I'm going to show you one of my instruments. See, this instrument is probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years old. There's a distal cutter here. This instrument's also about 10 to 12 years old, and see, there's no rust on it. It looks pretty new. So it's very important that any hinge instruments or any cutting instruments you autoclave in a dry autoclave, okay? So this is their bird beak plier that comes in our student kit. And then this is a band remover. You can always recognize band removers because they have these plastic stops, okay? So this is the band remover instrument that comes in a student kit. You are going to get these band pushers. So this is a band pusher instrument, band seater, or a bite stick, you can call it too, or you can also check for fractured teeth with these instruments, but we use them for seating bands, okay? So, throughout the seminars, of course, I go through how to use each of these instruments too, okay? So don't worry about how to use them. I'm just kind of going through what's in the kit right now, okay? So this is a bracket placer. So this is if you want to put tubes on the molars instead of bands. So this is a well, you can use it for molar tubes, but you can also use them for bracket placement on the interior teeth as well, okay? So so both for brackets and tubes, that will work. Now these bracket height gauge instruments, I do love these. These are great. These are the swivel head, so you can turn the end of the instruments. I think it's very important to get these swivel head instruments because it makes it easier to place the brackets at 4s and 5 positions. So this is what they look like. Okay, so the heads of these instruments swivel, so it's easier to get back to the 4 and 5 positions on from the cheek. So if these instruments are straight, it's very difficult to get to those teeth with a straight bracket positioner instrument. So that's why I like the swivel head instruments much better. And then you're gonna have a light bend pusher, and it also has a scaler at the end, and it has a plastic sleeve on it, so it doesn't puncture through the plastic in shipping. And you can use these instruments to push down ligature wires. So that's just a fine band pusher. Usually we use these instruments for pushing down the tail end of the steel ligature ties. Okay, so that's what that's used for. And then we have a hard cutter. So this is a hard cutter plier, and we use this for heavier cutting heavier arch wires. Okay, it's not to be confused with the pin and ligature cutter, because the pin and ligature cutters are different. So this is a pin and ligature cutter. It's very different from a hard cutter. We go through this in our instrument review. Okay, so this is a hard cutter. This is a pin and ligature cutter. You can tell the pin and ligature cutter is much smaller, it's finer. If you cut a hard wire with a pin and ligature cutter, you ruin it and you can throw it away because you won't be able to fix it. You need to cut arch wires with the heavy wire cutter and cut ligatures with a pin and ligature cutter. So when we go through our instrument review, we mentioned this, how to take care of the instruments as well. But it's very important that your team doesn't cut wires with these pin and ligature cutters. These fine tip instruments are made for cutting very light wire, which is the pins and ligatures. Okay, so and then you're gonna get another mathau. So that's your second mathau there. Mathau pliers you just really used a lot. And here is my all-time favorite. I love this. Okay, you ready for this? This is my favorite distal end cutter. Distal end cutters, it's very hard to find good distal end cutters. Okay, this is all-time favorite distal end cutters. I own probably 20 different distal end cutters, and I like these probably the best because you can get distal end cutters that hold the wire, or you can get distal end cutters that do not hold the wire. You can get distal end cutters that are flush cutters, and you can get distal end cutters that are not flush cutters. And here's how the story usually goes. If the distal end cutter is a flush cutter, usually it does not hold the wire. If a distal end cutter holds the wire, it's usually not flush cutter. So then there's this low wire tail end that sticks out behind the last molar, and it bothers the heck out of the patients because it's bothering their cheek. Okay, so the other thing is some of the distal end cutters, and let me see if I have one here. I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Some of the distal end cutters, like this Hugh Freedy one, they're great. They hold the wire. They're flush cutters, but look how bulky the head is. This instrument has a really bulky head. Okay, so what happens? It's really hard to get back to the molar bands because it's so huge. Okay. So that's one. Now let me show you another distal end cutter that I have here. Let's see, where did I put it? Here. I'm gonna try to find it. I don't see it at the second. But there's another distal end cutter that's made by Dentorum that's a flush cutter and holds the wire, but it takes this low elastic that you have to replace pretty much every time you autoclave the instrument. Okay, so that's not much fun either. Okay, so that's not my favorite. So why do I like these instruments? These are really nifty. They have a low wire that's gonna hold the cut end of the arch wire. So when you cut this arch wire, it's going to hold it, and it's also a flush cutter. So these are super nifty. And looks like they actually added a little retention screw here, and I think you can replace this arch wire. I'm just kind of guessing I wonder if this screw is a retention screw for this arch wire that holds the cutoff piece of the arch wire. So anyway, long story short, I love this tone cutter. So I'm going to be getting a lot of these. I own a bunch of different ones because I like to try different tone cutters, and so I have a bunch of different ones, and none of them are as perfect as I like it to be, but I do love these. Then you're gonna get a band pusher. So this is a band pusher. This is a heavy-duty band pusher that you're gonna see your bands with. We reviewed this in our instrument reviews. If you haven't seen it, you're gonna get to it. It's in our seminars, I think in NOA 303, and then you're also going to get these mirrors, these super reflective occlusal, lingual, and buccal mirrors. So you're going to get those as well. And then you are also going to get these nickel titanium coils. Let me open this here so you can see it. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but let me see here. Maybe I'll just take a piece out so you can see. So that's a nickel titanium coil. So that's the 12 millimeter. That's the 9 millimeter one. Okay, we use the 12 millimeter one probably most often, and sometimes we use the 9 millimeter one as well. So you're gonna get the 9 and the 12. So this is in your kit. So again, these are super important, and it's very important to have good mirrors. Okay, so you're gonna use these mirrors for intraoral photography because a lot of your patients gonna need photographs. You're going to take progress photographs, you're going to take start and finish photographs, so it's very important to have good mirrors. So I would you can start out with the student kit, and that will get you started. But once you start with orthodontics, you want to get several sets of these intraoral mirrors because you're going to be taking a lot of pictures. Okay, so that was in one of the packs. So let's see what else is in this box. This is a good sized box here that they sent us all kinds of stuff. So here's the second bag that comes with the student intro kit. So I'm going to go through this real quick to see what's in it. And okay, so they're going to send you a articulator. This is for banding and bracketing. If you get on our website, we recommend all kinds of different articulators. To be honest, if you have an articulator from dental school, that would work just fine. Here is this articulator from Ortho Arch. So this is what they sent us. This will work great. It looks very professional. You can this is the Columbia articulator that I've used this before. Typodon, I should say. These are very expensive. Don't buy these. I mean, you can buy them, but they don't look as nice for patients. Like these look really nice because they're clear. This is more like the dental school stuff. They're pretty expensive. I bought this one from eBay, I think. This is the Kilgore Typodont. I think I paid $60, so you can also look for these Typodonts, or you may have one from dental school, but you're going to get a very, very nice articulated Typodont from Ortho Arch. Okay, so we're gonna get this back in this box so we don't break it, because you're gonna need these articulators for our hands-on exercises. We have a lot of hands-on exercises because we don't just teach theory. It's very important to learn the hands-on aspect of orthodontics, because that's what we really want to do here, is learn how to treat patients orthodontically, whether or not you're an orthodontist, orthodontic resident, general dentist. That's what your goal is, really, to treat patients. Okay, now here is a so then they're going to send you some bracket sets. So there's 4 bracket sets, and you can on the back of them there's a description. They're twin brackets. There's also a clear one, the sapphire one, and so you get some different bracket sets. Okay, so let me just pull one out here. So there's a bracket set, and I recommend that you try different brackets. And I really do love these carrying cases. And these are the clear ones or white ones. And by the way, these colors just come off of them. Okay, so here is the 4 bracket sets that you get, and they come with a sticky pad. Now, I do use these sticky pads from AO. I love these. I buy a bunch of them, and they're really cheap. So as you buy inventory brackets, if they come in just in a baggie, then you can buy the sticky pads to put the brackets on. This Ortho Arch is kind of nice because if you look here, the brackets already come on a sticky pad, so they're already on there for you. So you can just pull this out, you open it, and these brackets are ready to go. See, you can place this right on a patient. Okay, so these are really nice. And in a hands-on exercise, we are going to learn how to place these brackets. So you're going to get these 4 sets in your student kit. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, you're gonna get some twisty short ligature ties. You're gonna use a lot of these, okay? So these are the ones that you use to tie in the brackets, and then you're gonna use these long Kobayashi hooks, for example. These are used, Kobayashi hooks basically will put a little hook on your bracket just with a twisty tie, and these are the long Kobayashi hooks. So if you need to use like an intro elastic, let's see if I can pull this out. See, this is kind of like what they look like. Let me see if I can focus my camera. So you're going to get twisty ties, you're going to get these Kobayashi hooks, which you use when you want to do some up and down elastics. And then you're going to get also some tubes. So tubes are, in some cases you decide not to use bands on the molars, but you decide to use tubes. So you're going to get some different tubes for the different teeth. And so you get all these tubes, and these are for the molars, okay? And it says on there for which tooth it goes on, lower right 6, or it tells you upper right 6, upper right left. Upper left for the 6. So each of these tubes are for different molars, and it's all indicated on the bag which molar it goes to. Okay, so you're gonna get these tubes as well. These are really nice. They have large pads. When it comes to these molar tubes, it's very important that they have these large sticky pads. Here, let me show you one. Large bracket pads, because let me see if I can focus, because that's what gives it a retention. Okay, so the larger the molar tube pad is, the better the retention is for that tube to stay on the tooth, and that's very important because that's frustrating when these tubes just keeps falling off. Okay, so now we're gonna get to arch wires. Okay, so we got typodons. Let's put this away. We got the ligature ties, we got the molar tubes, then we got the brackets. So I'm going to make a little room here. So here is the arch wire kit. Okay, so we've got several different arch wires. Let's see here. We've got so this would be your 19 by 25 stainless steel, 18 by 18 upper stainless steel. There's an 18 by 18 lower. You're going to get some 19 by 25 beta upper and lower. So these are really great wires, more for your finishing phase. And then let me see if I can find our start ones. Yeah, of course, here. So here's our start one. So you're going to use a 12 super elastic nickel titanium, and there's also a 14. So we're going to use those super commonly. I mean, we use those all the time. Okay. Let's see here. We've got 16 by 16. Those are super useful. Remember, usually we try to go from 14 to 16 to 18 by 25, but if the patient is super crowded, or if it's an adult, usually actually we start with a 12, because that's going to be a little bit more comfortable than going with a heavier wire. And we want our patients to be comfortable. We don't want to overpower them and then have them be in discomfort. There's a 19 by 25 and there's a 16 by 16, and so all these arch wires, basically, you could treat most patients or any patients with these arch wires, okay? And it's going to be in your student kit. Basically, all these arch wires is all I use, and I don't even use all of these arch wires, because some of these arch wires, like the 18 by 18 or 18 by 25 stainless steel, I usually do custom utility arches from, I bend my utility arches from them. So these arch wires that you get in your student kit, you can treat the most complicated patients with, okay, or most difficult cases with. So that's really is pretty helpful. Now let's see here, what else we got here. Let's set this over to the side, and then now the nice thing, having the having the typodont from Ortho Arch, they are going to give you bands that's going to match your typodont. And that's really good, because if you just go out and buy one of these Kilgore typodonts, then you need to have a band sizing kit, because you won't know what size bands the typodont is unless you size them first. Now, the nice people at Ortho Arch went through the trouble to match the bands to your typodont, so these bands should match your typodont that Ortho Arch sent you. So you got all these bands here. Of course, it's going to say on there upper right. It's going to be upper left. So you got lower right, and then you got lower left. So you got all the typodont bands. So this will be really good for your typodont practice, okay? Because we're going to have a hands-on practice for typodont, and we have a live class too, and then we have a lot of online exercises where you're going to be practicing placing these bands on your typodont online, and you're going to send us some pictures and videos how you do that, and so you're really going to get a good practice. So we got Archwires, we got brackets, we got bands. See, you're just really going to get everything, so you're not going to have to try to piece this stuff together. So you're really going to get all your things for these typodont exercises from one place, okay? So so this was in our kit. This was in our second bag. So let's see what else did we get. Okay, looks like there's a couple more things here. There's another bag here, all kinds of stuff. And by the way, if you go on our website under supplies, you can see the content of this entire kit, okay? There's a document that lets you kind of go through it, okay? There's ligature wires. These are the long ligature wires, for example, for lacing. You're going to be using that quite a bit. You're going to use a hollow chop wire. So this is a hollow chop plier, okay? Hollow chop pliers are good because sometimes you have a patient with these. We're going to teach you how to use these keyhole wires, and sometimes it bothers the patient's lip. So with these hollow chop pliers, you can bend it really nicely so it doesn't bother the patient. In Europe, they call these Della Rosa. So if you're an orthodontic resident or orthodontist in Europe, you may call this a Della Rosa. If you're a general dentist in Europe, you can look, and these hollow chop pliers are called Della Rosa, or they use it for bending arch wires, okay? Let's see what else we got here. We got a wine guard. I do love the wine guard, okay? So here's your wine guard plier. So is a wine guard plier. They really heavy duty beefy pliers that let you grab things and remove, for example, a TPA from the patient's mouth. And then this is a three-prong plier. Sometimes doctors ask me, how do I correct deep bites so well? And the deep bite cases just look so well. They look so good for deep bite correction. Right here. Three-prong plier. I use the three-prong plier to do a lot of intrusion of the lower anteriors for deep bite correction, okay? So that's one of my tricks. I'm going to teach you how to do that, okay? And I use that three-prong plier. So we've got a self-ligating bracket opening tool, because you got some self-ligating brackets. So if you like to get into that, it will you will have a tool to open those brackets because they have a little door on them. If you're not familiar with self-ligating brackets, then we're going to teach you how to use those, but you need a little tool or a little instrument to open the door so you can slide the wire in it, okay? Now, I showed you before the bracket positioning plier, or this little instrument that helps you position the brackets on the teeth, and this is actually the tube positioner, okay? So you can use the bracket positioner too, but it won't fit into the tube slot, and you can use these let's see, these molar bracket positioning instruments, and the cool thing about them is they have this protective sleeve on them. Let me see if I can pull that off. And the nice thing about these is when you place the brackets on the molars, these the very fine tip of these pliers fit into the tube where the wire would go, and it lets you really hold it, and it's offset, so it's easy to get back to the molar. So this is the instrument that you would want to use for placing brackets on the molars. So that's a bracket tube placing instrument. Let's see what else we got here. We got Howell plier. I don't use this as much at the beginning, but we do use it a lot for expander cases, Howell plier, because expansion cases, because with this one it's really easy to let me see, we got a TPA, perfect. So when you have a Howell plier, it's very easy to push in these TPAs into the molar band, the molar tube. There's a lingual sheet, and it's really easy with this Howell plier to push that TPA back into that little slot, okay? So it's one of those instruments that you don't need it until you really need it. This makes life much easier when you're doing the TPAs for expansion cases. A lot of times you use TPAs for expansion cases, or you use TPAs, for example, for anchoring the posterior teeth when you're doing, for example, an extraction case. Yeah, the TPAs are very useful. And again, this is a TPA, transpalatal arch. This wire is the TPA right there. All right, cool. So here's the 12 millimeter nickel titanium wire. So we had the 9 millimeter in the other package. So there's the 12. We're going to use that. And then we're going to have elastic separators. We use that sometimes. Personally, I like the nickel titanium separators. But we do use these sometimes. There's a power chain to close spaces and consolidate teeth. There's also a open stainless steel coil. You can use this for making space or move teeth. You pack it between the teeth on the arch wire. There is a closed coil, and once we start getting into accessories, it would all make sense what they're used for. Closed coils are very good, for example, when there's a missing tooth, and you can put it, you can cut the closed coil between the brackets and the arch wire so the teeth won't shift. So they're really useful when you need them. And then we also have a light wire plier. So it's kind of like a bird beak, but it has a longer beak. So you kind of use both. You use a bird beak and you use a light wire plier. So this is what it looks like, okay? So that's a light wire plier, okay? It's similar to the bird beak, but it's not quite. So let me show you a bird beak. Here's a bird beak. They're a lot more beefy and kind of like a heavy-duty instrument, and this is the light wire plier, okay? So that's really the difference. So we got that, and let's see what else you have. And then we have a catalog, okay? So you got a catalog that I assume it's also available online. So good. Now the biggest thing would be is when you get these instruments, I mentioned this a bunch of times, you don't want to sterilize these instruments the way you sterilize your dental instruments, because these instruments have hinges. So this is a hinged instrument. Hinged instruments usually should go through dry heat autoclave, but you have to follow your state board, health department, whoever has the authority in your area over sterilization. You have to follow their guidelines, but usually it's a heat autoclave. If you're in an area where they mandate steam autoclaving, which I don't know any states that do that, but then you have to follow that. But usually you use heat sterilization for any hinged cutting instruments. Otherwise, you can have a lot of rusting. And you also have to follow the state recommended guidelines how to autoclave them with a heat sterilizer. Okay, so that's just a little side note. And then we got more stuff here. So here's a face mask. I did my master thesis for my orthodontic program on class 3 correction and headgears. These headgears are great for, especially for nighttime, and actually comes with a cool carrying case, so the patients can put it in. So when they travel, class 3 patients, which is the reversible headgear. So this is a reversible headgear or face mask. Okay, I think I called it headgear. So this is a headgear, but it's a reversible headgear or face mask. It's different from a cervical headgear, which is for class 2 patients. So you've got this. You got this face mask for class 3 patients. Class 3 patients usually very compliant, so they actually travel with it. They take it because class 3 patients usually don't like that underbite that they have, so they're very compliant about wearing it. Okay, so that's your face mask that you're gonna have in your student kit. You're gonna get some latex elastics. So let's open this. Let's see what's inside here and what they look like. They always look about the same. They come in little baggies. Okay, so this is the quarter inch elastic. Okay, so you're going to use these quite a bit for your patients. So you're going to get a whole kit of these. And then let's see what else we got here. We got another one here. These are the mediums. And of course, we had the one that I just showed you. These were the heavy ones. So you get a quarter inch for both the medium and the heavy force ones. Okay, so these are your elastic bands. We got more catalogs. So that's in there too. I also use these sea lions. So I also like these sea lion elastics for for class 2, class 3, but it's actually, you get these in your kit. This is actually from American Ortho, but I just wanted to show you that it's the same as what you get in your kit, the heavy one. Okay, see this? So this is a quarter inch heavy, and this is the quarter inch heavy. Okay, so this is the same thing as what I got from American Orthodontics. So you're going to use these heavy quarter inch one for example, for class 2 elastics, for collecting mild class 2, because class 2 elastics are only good for a few millimeters of class 2 correction. And the last piece. Okay, so here's the last piece. Looky here. So we got this cool carrying case. So these are your elastic ties for placing the elastic ties on the brackets. So you would put these elastic ties on the brackets to hold the arch wire in. Okay, so that's what these are for, and it's neat because in one little tab you got 10 of these. Okay, and now the other cool thing is they're gonna give you the cheat sheet of how to order these, because the item number is already on there, so then you can reorder them. So ta-da! So you got all this stuff. What do you think? So this is a lot of stuff. Thanks again from Ortho Arch that they're so generous to send us these things. Here's their number, their website. Their order form is on our website, so you are welcome to again our website and check out what's in their student kit. But I wanted to review this. So these are all the items that it's in a student kit. I gave you a little explanation. We review all these instruments, how to use them, what to use them, what to do with them. So if it's a lot of information right now, don't worry. We're going to go through all the little details low by low. Okay, so again, this is from courtesy of Ortho Arch, which is we're very grateful for their wonderful contribution and helping our students. And if you have any questions or comments, always welcome to reach out to me. And you're gonna need these instruments and these supplies for our program. So you really need to get these for the type and exercises, as well as to once you start treating patients. Okay, so if you want to treat patients and do all the type and exercises, I mean, obviously you don't need all these elastics to do our type and exercises. I mean, you could just pick the pink one or any of the one colors and just do that. Okay, but now this will be enough for treatment of several of your first patients as well. Okay, so if you're trying to scale back because maybe you get financially a little bit strapped and you want to be more economically conscious, then maybe don't get this whole kit. Just get a few of these elastics, okay, so you can practice. But you're going to use this. Okay, so it's one of those things that you're just going to purchase purchase it once and then you're going to use it for probably 5. There's enough elastics here probably to treat about 10 patients, okay? So assuming that they don't want the really popular color, the girls are going to want this and these pink ones, you know. So you could treat about 10 patients with all these elastics. So all the stuff that's in these student kits, you could really treat a lot of patients and do all of our type on exercises. So the bottom line is, what I want to kind of tell you is, you just you're going to need these supplies to do the exercises and do our program, but it's really going to pay off. And the nice thing is, if you get it from this company, they're gonna give you the stuff that you need and nothing more, nothing less. Okay, or you're welcome to just simply buy the instruments on your own. If you have a best buddy who has an orthodontic supply company, then buy it from them. I don't care. You know, it's not, like I said, we don't get any kickbacks or any financial incentives from these companies. But I want you guys to be successful. I want you to be able to do well in our program and love it and love orthodontics like I do, and make sure that you have all the right instruments. So good. I'm gonna be quiet now here, and I'm gonna let you guys get back to work. And any questions or problems, make sure to send me a note, okay? Have a good rest of the day. Bye.